Hey everyone, it's Heather Nichols. I have a floral card to share with you today that I created with the Layer It Rustic Floral die collection, as well as the new Quad Colors Napa Valley collection to put my colors together for this project. The Layer It Rustic Floral die collection includes 2 sizes of flowers. You have 2 dies for each one, and also the leaves. The Quad Colors Napa Valley includes sweet potato pie, olive, mulled wine, and raspberry sorbet in both the ink and cardstock colors, which is what I have here. I'm also using Toffee and sugar cube cardstock as well. I'm using sugar cube ink and Oreo ink, as well as my very well loved blender brushes for this project. I'm jumping right into the die cutting. I'm cutting 2 of the larger size florals, one from sweet potato pie cardstock and one from mulled wine cardstock. I'm using my metal shim just to help with cutting out that detail on the one die cut, and then I'm going to cut a smaller flower from the raspberry sorbet cardstock, and then I'll cut leaves from the olive cardstock. Now that I have all of my pieces cut out and ready to go, I'm going to use my blender brushes and inks to add shading to the cardstock. Typically when I would die cut with the Layer It dies like this, I would cut it from 2 different colors of cardstock to do some shading and add depth, but since I am using the quad colors and I'm keeping myself just in this color family of colors, I'm using the coordinating inks to add a darker shade of color to the bottom edges of the flower bases and also to the detail pieces so that my flower has depth when it's layered together. I will repeat this blending on each color of the flowers that I'm using for this project, and I'll also do a little bit of ink blending on my leaves. I'm adding some white ink splatters with sugar cube ink onto my Toffee cardstock that will be my background, and also to the die cut flower pieces. I put some sugar cube ink onto an acrylic block. I'm picking that up with a water brush and then tapping the water brush on my fingers to spatter all of the pieces. Once all my pieces are dry, I'm going to attach the flower detail piece to the flower base using a liquid adhesive. My personal favorite adhesive is the Multimedia Matte. I love that it dries clear and it doesn't dry shiny. Next, I'm creating the background on my piece of Toffee cardstock that my flowers are going to sit on. I'm using some of the stems from the Spring Stems stamp set, and I'm stamping that in sugar cube ink. I laid the flowers down to determine about where they were going to sit on my background, and then I am stamping the stems and sort of a spray coming out from behind where those flowers are going to sit. I'm adding my flowers to my project. The flower that will be in the back I am attaching directly to the Toffee cardstock, and then the other 2 flowers I'm adding some foam squares to the back so they pop up just a little bit from the front of the project. Next, I added adhesive to the leaf die cuts and tucked those in all around the flowers. I'm stamping the With Love sentiment from the Aflutter stamp set. I've arranged it on my project. I'll close the lid of the MISTI to pick that up, and then I'll straighten it, and I stamped the sentiment in Oreo ink. Finally, I'll add that piece of Toffee cardstock to a sugar cube card base. I'll just add some adhesive, and I like to line mine up with the top of the card base, and I trimmed the Toffee cardstock so just a little bit of the sugar cube shows at the bottom of the card. I'll use my scissors to trim the leaves that are extending out beyond the card, and then this card is all set to go to mail to somebody and share a little joy with them. You can find all of the supplies to create this card at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you next time.